This business is not sponsored by or affiliated with the United States Department of Veterans Affairs or your state's Department of Military and Veterans Affairs or any other federally chartered veterans service organization. Other organizations, including but not limited to your state's Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, a local veteran service organization, and other federally chartered veteran service organizations provide this service free of charge. You may qualify for other veterans benefit services outside the scope of what this business offers. All disability claims for increased ratings are processed by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs. This business cannot expedite the processing of your claim by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs.
What's going on?
What's going on, Coach Henry? Good afternoon.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Well, it's good morning for me here in Central Texas. It's still 11 a.m. And good afternoon for you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here in the great state of Florida, where it's nice and sunny. No rain yet. No rain as of yet. But yeah, man, I'm glad we're here. I'm glad we're going through these questions. Get to throw out some knowledge. But before that even happens, let's start asking the main question. Who is Joe Rivera? Who is Henry Sosa? And why are we here?
That is a great question, Coach Henry. And Joe Rivera is a veteran himself. So I served in the Army for 11 and a half years. And I was a tanker. I was a tank master gunner. I definitely enjoyed my time in service. And now doing this, it's a privilege. It's an honor to be able to be the light and the source of information for veterans going through the claims process. And like I said, there's no better feeling than, when a veteran gets that rating they deserve, because it's not just about the monthly compensation. I know that there's more to it, and it's an overall life change that happens, right? And so that's what I'm here for. I'm here to be that source of information. I feel like this is a calling for me, and I hope to be able to provide the knowledge and the education that the veterans need to get the VA disability rating they deserve. How about you, Henry?
That was a mouthful. Real quick. It wasn't supposed to be that long, but okay. Nah. All jokes aside, United States Army veteran. I'm also 19 kilos. I'm also a tanker. Shout out to us tankers. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Served. I joined the month before 9/11. Did 4 years. Got injured in Iraq. Came home with 10%, and I thought that was okay. I thought, hey, that's what I get, whatever it was. And then 2020, when COVID happened, I was sick in bed, and I saw a guy from Austin, Texas, just jumping up and down, and I'm like, why is this guy so hyped? What's going on? So it just opened up my curiosity, and then I just started to listen to him more and watch a few videos. Got to 70% on my own, but then I was stuck. So I kept blaming the VA. It's their fault. It's their fault. Came here, got a coach, and then I found out it was my fault because I was just doing it wrong. So I'm now sitting at 100% thanks to VA Claims Insider, and I'm now a coach. So been doing this for quite some time. I love what I do. I'm eternally grateful for what we have. But hey, guys, if you could just throw in the chat where you're from. I know we have a few questions coming in already, but just throw in the chat, where you guys are from, what branch of service. Let's go Army, beat Navy.
That's right. That's right. I'm not biased or anything, but I hear through the grapevine that the Army is the best, but that's neither here nor there. We'll leave it alone. But yeah, sound off in the chat where you're tuning in from, branch of service. We'd love to see where you guys
Mark are tuning in from. Oklahoma. Let's go. P&T. Okay. For about a month now. That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Congrats. We got Jaime Castro. Appreciate you, Jaime. Appreciate the shout out.
Let's go. We got Rosie, Los Angeles Navy. Okay, let's go. And then we got Crystal. If husband was awarded 100% P&T. Again, we'll start going through those questions in a little bit, but Clifford Moss from Kansas, 84 to 91, Desert Storm, United States Army, 80%. That's awesome. Let's go.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service, everyone. I know that, as veterans, we we kind of have a little banter of which branch is better, but at the end of the day, we're all brothers and sisters, and only we can make fun of each other, right? One time a civilian asked me, I was like, yeah, because we can, okay? You can.
Mr. and Mrs. D, Georgia, Army, 96 to 04. Okay. Chuck, Fort Worth, Texas. Enjoying the nice Texas weather we have for now. So 50% U.S. Navy. Thank you for tuning in. And then Big Mo, Michael Big Mo, Army, just hit 80% yesterday. Let's go. Congratulations on that win.
Congratulations.
That is amazing. That's great. Awesome.
I wonder from where, what was he before that?
He might have made a big jump. He seems very excited about the win. So it sounds like it was life-changing. That's amazing.
That's a big one. Yeah, let's do some of these questions. The first one, do supplemental claims take less time than regular claims? No. They all take about the same time. Recently, I have been seeing claims get processed a little quickly, but yeah, they're all. I think the one that, to me, in my experience, I feel like sometimes is a up and down that takes a little longer is the HLR, because it's the HLR department is not as big as the other departments. So from my understanding, I believe, but yeah, all the regular claims and 0995s and 526 EZs, they all take about the same time. Now, you may see in our videos, we say, in some of our videos or blogs, we may say 5 to 6 months, but that's an average. There's been claims that come back in 30 days, claims that come back in 10 months. So,
it's worth noting that the average on the VA's end has actually gone down this year as well. So I want to say it's at 94 days, which is from the VA, 94 days from submission to decision, right? 94 days is where they're at right now. And we started off the year at, 100 and some change. I want to say 150 or so. So the VA's average, the national average, has gone down overall. So the claims have been coming back quicker, but there's a lot of variables in there. You have the regional office that's adjudicating your claim, how many claims they're adjudicating at that time, or claims that were submitted, how many conditions you're submitting for.
That's a big one. I was going to say that. How many claims they're adjudicating at that time. What I was going to say too is how fully developed is your claim? Because if you're submitting it and then they got to request more documents or yada yada, right? Then that's going to also delay the process. But I believe in August and September, I had 3 veterans submitted a claim in the beginning of the month, and towards the end of the month, it was already done. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then RV asked a question for the CMP exam for rhinitis increase. Will they go through questions for sinusitis as well, even though you didn't put in a claim for it? Both are on the same DBQ, and I don't want them to touch it. So you're going in for a rhinitis increase. You don't want them to touch your sinusitis. Well, the fact of the matter is that there is no way to tell. The real answer is that they could reevaluate you for sinusitis. There's no way to tell. I mean, if there are a lot of variables in play, right? Let's say you submit a personal statement and you mention symptoms that pertain to sinusitis. Maybe that causes them to reevaluate it.
Correct.
Or the VA just asked that examiner to reevaluate it because it's already on the same DBQ. There's no real way to tell that. The honest answer is that they could. So, make sure that your medical evidence is up to date and be ready to speak on your sinusitis symptoms when you go to that rhinitis CMP exam, because it's possible. It really is.
Yeah. I know I've had many vets that have done one or the other and they haven't touched the other one, but there's no way of saying, me included, right? My own claim, and they didn't ask me about sinusitis when I went for my rhinitis. But there's just no way of saying that, no, they won't do it, because the VA could if they wanted to.
Right.
All right. So let's see what we got here. Can you tell me about sleep apnea? Sleep apnea is a condition that you get when you have obstruction of sleep. I'm assuming that's what you wanted to know. I don't know. What do you want me to tell you? you have to wear a mask at night. It's kind of annoying, but it helps you sleep. It helps you. If you're referring to your claim in general, right? It's one of those tough ones to go after, right? It's one of those that we like to, some coaches like to leave to the, let's see what else we can get before sleep apnea, because it's just one of those that will really test your patience.
With the secondary, yeah. The secondary. And sleep apnea, I mean, it can be rated at 0, 30, and 50%. You can get, if you're prescribed the CPAP, you can get a 50%, keyword is can. You can get a 50% rating for sleep apnea if you're prescribed the CPAP. You can get 30% if you just have the hypersomnolence symptoms, but you're not prescribed the CPAP. But getting the service connection for sleep apnea, that's where if you were diagnosed with sleep apnea in service, you can get a direct service connection. That's one thing. But as a secondary, it is, I guess you can say, a controversial condition in the VA claims world as a secondary condition. So there's some info for sleep apnea.
And this is for all claims, but majority of the sleep apnea claims that some of my newer vets, when they come in, they're asking, the VA diagnosed me with this condition. Why is it still getting denied? So again, with all conditions, not just sleep apnea, but since this is the topic now, just because the VA diagnoses you with a condition, that doesn't mean it's service connected related. Think of service connection as responsibility. Why would the VA be responsible for your sleep apnea if they didn't cause it? So that's where you have to show a nexus. You got to prove the connection. Just having a current diagnosis is just a piece of the puzzle, But a lot of vets feel like, well, they diagnosed me with it. How come I keep getting it denied? I mean, if you fall from a ladder and break your elbow, they're going to treat you for it. That doesn't mean you're going to go get it service connected. So it's the same exact thing.
And if you're curious about that, I mean, there's a lot that comes into play when considering whether you have the possibility to have a strong claim or not for sleep apnea as a secondary, but you have to look at your medical history. And there's many things that come into play. So that's where, if you have any questions about that specific to your case, it's worth booking a discovery call with VA Claims Insider or using one of our referral links to sign up so we can go over that with you and see if it's the right fit.
Yes, sir. All right, Mark, will 100% PNT be in jeopardy if I file a travel claims to appointments? No. Where you are at jeopardy, from my understanding, there's two ways where you be put at jeopardy. One is if you submit a disability claim, right? So if you submit a claim to update your dependents or, file for travel reimbursement, that shouldn't affect it in any way. And then the other way where you could be at jeopardy is if somebody reports it as fraud. So, let's say your neighbor is like, Joe's 100%, he looks fine, there's nothing wrong with him, and then they report it to the VA. So just be careful. Also, be careful who you share that you hit 100%. Not everyone is always excited, for that. Some people can be a little jealous.
Agreed. So I see if Crystal, if hubby was just awarded 100% PTSD on an HLR, but I think the effective date is wrong, can we ask for it to be fixed without risking the 100%, and how? It's a great question. Because you just got that rating on an HLR, there is a possibility for you to request for it to be fixed. Now, your main question is HLR. Right, and your main question is, can you do it without risking the 100%? That's the main question here, and the answer is, it's possible for them to reevaluate you for it, right? It's possible for them to send you back for another CMP exam. There's no real way to tell, because you're not asking for them to correct the service connection or correct the rating. You're asking for the effective date, right? But you just want to make sure as well that when you submit, if you're going to submit an HLR, that you're clear on why you deserve that effective date.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, especially if you just She said he just got awarded. So if they just gave you 100% P&T,
Yeah, that's true.
That means that the evidence is in your favor currently. So I don't foresee them, it being at risk. But you would file another HLR, but just disputing the effective date.
And making sure that you're clear on why the earlier effective date should be the date that you were awarded on. Being able to explain that.
Morris, I'm 21-year-old Air Force. I don't know if Morris is a 21-year-old veteran or he was in the Air Force for 21 years, but awesome. 100% disabled, 70 for PTSD, denied neck, denied lower back. Finally got an attorney to help me with the last 20. Man, medical evidence wins claims. So just keep going to your doctor, keep doing what you got to do, man. At the end of the day, just don't give up. I guess that's the best thing I can say. Michael. Oh, here's Michael. He was at 10, then 30, 60, 70. Awesome, Mike. Yeah, don't give up. Keep the fight going.
And then for Daniel Garcia, I recently received my CMP and I received less than what I thought I should have received. I talked for over 50 minutes and introduced new info for my claim, and I need to see what the CMP examiner put into her notes. I have my notes, but I wish to see what she put down. Not Vietnam War, but I appreciate you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for the question, Daniel. So a way that you could go about seeing what was put down on the DBQ that was submitted by the examiner is you can request your C file or your claims file. And if you want information on how to request that on VAClaimsinsider.com, so on our website, you could actually go in there and search our blog post, and there's a great blog post that can explain how you can request that C file, that claims file. That will have everything that the VA used to adjudicate and to make a decision on your claim. It'll have everything that they were able to view on there. So
I think we'll have one of our teams be able to just add it to the chat, the blog post.
The blog post?
We'll get our team to add it to the chat so like that you can just go right into it.
Yep, and that way you can request your claims file.
Kelly, what should I expect when when going for my initial behavior health CMP? Behavior health is, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, more of a mental health claim?
Yeah.
So you want
to mental health.
Yeah. So you want to go after that CMP and get yourself educated the same way you would for any mental health claim. Be vulnerable. Don't sugarcoat how you feel. What you don't say, they don't know. What they don't know, they can't help you with, right? The one thing I have been saying, and this goes for all CMPs, I've always heard you can get more bees with honey than with vinegar. So when you go into these CMPs, yes, you hear the horror stories. This person was the worst. But in being on this side of the fence, I see so many vets come back. Man, my VA examiner, man, he was awesome. She was awesome. There's a lot of good people out there that do great work for the VA. Not everyone is out to get you. So don't go in there like it's me versus you. This person is doing a job. So all that to say, go in there and tell them exactly what you have going on. Be honest, be truthful, and you'll get what you deserve.
Agreed. Ronnie Guerin, Tennessee Army, 1971, 0%, got denied in 75, never have reapplied. And just to confirm, Ronnie, if you got denied and you're not service connected for anything, that would mean that you're not service connected. But if you're at 0%, 0% and service connected means that the VA actually, you won the claim, you just didn't get the rating you deserve. So just to be clear on that, just in case. So it's worth you looking into that. If you have 0%, that means that you were service connected for it. But it's never too late, right? Even if you were denied in 1975, I just want to let you know that doesn't mean that it's too late for you and you can't file a claim now. I would urge, if you want to look into this and you would like the coaching and the support, book a discovery call with us to see what's possible, or or sign up, or you can use one of the referral links to sign up with myself or Coach Henry, but it's never too late, brother.
Yeah, there's no statute limitation on that. Miss MRD1, is the shutdown affecting how much longer the claims? The opposite. I've been seeing the opposite happen.
That's true.
I mean, I'm not trying to jinx it, but I'm just saying I've been seeing the opposite. A lot of claims are coming back super quickly because of that. I mean, not because of the shutdown, but just in general. Things are being processed. I would say since last November, processing a little bit quickly. Now, I have been seeing a lot of errors, though. So just, I guess you got to take one over the other. But yeah, I haven't seen that happen.
Agreed. So a question from Tech was, granted benefits, is there retro pay? That is a loaded question. I will say there are a lot of things that determine whether or not you should get back pay. And one of them is, let's say you have an intent to file. Whenever you create an intent to file with the VA, you have 12 months from that day that you create the intent to file your claim. So some veterans believe, hey, if I create an intent to file today, a decision is made, next June, I'm going to get back pay from the day that I created the intent to file. But maybe you were not diagnosed with that condition until February or March of the following year. So they may go back to the effective date being the day that you were diagnosed with the condition, because the way that they see it is you're not going to get compensated for something you weren't experiencing whenever you created the intent to file. So that's one of the things to take into consideration. Whether it's a supplemental claim, whether it's an HLR, a high level review from a claim that was previously denied. I mean, there's a lot of variables to determine whether or not you get back pay. So yeah, that's a loaded question, but hopefully that helped you out there.
Yeah, because the way they see it is that you didn't have the condition, so it's whenever you were diagnosed with it. Now, if you were diagnosed and then you do the intent to file, then it holds.
Yep.
I got a Nexus letter from Telemedica. I did my claim with you guys and already have a sleep apnea. Man, good luck. You got this. Speak to if sleep apnea is a primary condition, you want to speak to how you had it in service and all that good stuff. Now, if it's a secondary condition, you want to speak on whether it's musculoskeletal, whether it's, because of your mental health. You want to speak to that primary condition and how it's affecting your sleep apnea, what may have caused it, right?
It's just dad. HLR done, still denied as a secondary service connection. What are next steps? Quit? Never. It's just dad. Definitely don't quit. Whenever your HLR, just because the HLR got denied, that doesn't mean that it's the end of the road. That means that you have the option to submit a supplemental claim if you want to go that route, right? And which requires new and relevant evidence. Medical evidence wins claims. So definitely don't quit. It's not the end of the road for you. It's just an obstacle, right? So you want to review that decision letter and see what's next. If you feel stuck and you need the coaching and the support, again, sign up for a discovery call with us and see if we're the right fit for you. And we can provide you with that coaching and the education, because definitely don't want you to quit. Want to see you get the benefits and the rating that you've earned and you deserve, right? We say you served, you deserve. We truly mean that. We're veterans serving other veterans. And what we don't want you to do is quit, because if you deserve that rating, then you're not asking for a handout. You're not asking for help, right? You're just asking to get what you rightfully earned and deserve. So definitely don't quit.
Yeah. Let me see. I got one here. Do you recommend claiming headache secondary to 70% PTSD or 0 sinusitis rhinitis? Just submitted my intent to file and trying to build my case. I am not a doctor, so I can't do the connection, right? None of us are doctors, there are people here that are doctors, but you don't do the connection, right? You want to send your stuff to someone like Telemedica or any company that can do a Nexus letter for you, And they'll be the one to build the connection. They'll be the one to see, yeah, because of Rosie's this is because she has this. So go by whatever your Nexus letter says. What if your Nexus letter says is because of that, then that's what you're going to submit it. Sometimes they may build it as it'll be the reason for both, like both conditions. I've seen that happen. I've seen a Nexus letter with 3: tinnitus, sleep apnea, and mental health are the result of the PTSD. So again, just let the doctors do the connection. Don't worry about that now, because you still need a Nexus letter. You still need a few more things before submitting your claim. That was my way of not answering the question without answering it.
We got a question from Chuck. Should we try to submit with MRI results or fill out form for VA to get it from my doctor? It's a great question, Chuck. And the answer to your question is, if you submit all of the evidence that you plan on submitting to the VA with your claim, I want you to consider the fact that if you fill out the form for the VA to get it from your doctor, you're relying on the VA to make an attempt at getting it from your doctor, and then you have to sign the release of information, and then hopefully they get it in time for them to adjudicate your claim. But but if you can get all of the evidence that you plan on submitting with your claim yourself and submit it with your claim, you know for a fact that it's in there, and you don't have to wait on anybody else to get it for you if you have access to it.
Yeah. I see a question from Randy asking a question that we kind of addressed earlier. Maybe he wasn't here, but wondering why I was diagnosed with sleep apnea by the VA, but denied it for comp and pen, right? Again, there's 3 things that you need to get something service connected. You need an in-service event. You need a Nexus. You need an in-service event, a current diagnosis, and a Nexus. All you had there was just the current diagnoses. Again, if you were on a ladder painting your wall and you fall and break your elbow and you go to the VA for care, they're going to treat you because that's what you're in there for. You can't file that elbow as a service connection condition, right? You have to show the VA why they're responsible for your sleep apnea. So maybe it could be a secondary condition, or maybe you had sleep apnea in service, Maybe you might need a primary condition to get like any of the respiratory conditions, right? So you got to get that in first, right? So yeah, that's just a piece of the puzzle. It's not the end all be all.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that with the VA, there's, like Coach Henry was saying earlier, just because you were treated by the VA for a condition or you were diagnosed with a condition doesn't mean that it's service connected. Whenever you go receive healthcare or treatment for a condition, you're being treated by the VHA, the Veterans Health Administration. Whenever you file a disability claim, that's getting processed by the VBA, the Veterans Benefits Administration. So they're 2 separate entities that operate under the VA. So just because you get treated for sleep apnea, that doesn't mean that it's going to be service connected by the VBA and that you're going to get compensated for it. Because you need those 3 things that Henry mentioned, and you need to be able to prove that it was your service that caused and or aggravated your condition that you're going to be filing a disability claim for.
Yeah, they're in the same building, but they're in different floors.
It's like
they don't really.
It's like the Department of Defense, or the Department of War now. You got the Department of War, but then you have the Army, you have the Marines, you have the Navy.
Yeah. Again, the way I always kind of put it is just think of service connection as responsibility. How are they responsible for this condition, right? That's why when Joe said earlier, if your condition's rated at 0%, listen, that's 80% of the battle, because you just got it at 80. You got it at 0%. You just now have to prove that it's gotten worse, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so for Carlisa, I didn't intend to file for sleep apnea, was unsure as what and how to connect it to. So that's what we've been talking about. You want to take the full picture into consideration here as to what conditions you have that a doctor may or may not be able to link your sleep apnea to. your medical history plays an important role here. So definitely book a discovery call if you would like to get with the coach and see what's possible for you there. But yeah, it's one topic that we've been hitting on a lot today, is that it's one of those controversial claims as a secondary condition, but you just got to look into the medical history, and a doctor would need to determine what they can or cannot connect or create a nexus for that condition for.
Yeah. Randy, that's good. I see here that you put, I use a CPAP every night. That is also a key thing that you have to understand. Just because you're prescribed a CPAP, but you don't use it, it's not going to work in your favor. So just make sure you're using, your device, because they will be looking at that too.
Those things are digital nowadays too. It sends the reports.
Listen, that thing is scary, because the other day I messaged my doctor and I was like, hey, can I come in? I have to, adjust my the volume of the air that's coming in. He was like, oh, I already did it. I was like, wait, what? Like, how? What? Man, I disconnect that every night. I disconnect because I don't know if they're hearing you. I don't know what's going on. This is not a question, but this is awesome to see. Mark, my sleep apnea was denied 3 times before I won an HLR. It's difficult. They wound up linking PTSD and tinnitus. Mark, man, thank you for not giving up, because that is exactly what we always say. As long as you have the evidence, keep fighting. As long as you have the evidence, keep fighting.
And that's a testament to the question that a vet asked earlier. Should I quit? There's your answer. You stayed persistent and you stayed in there. So that's awesome to see that you knew that you deserved that and you got what you deserved. So definitely don't quit.
Jerome, I submitted my mental health nexus DBQ in early with VACI and got a decision in 8 days. Jeez Louise, that's awesome. But I'm still currently waiting for one supplemental claim for sleep apnea. 8 days, that is awesome.
So Monica Watson, my secondary claim was denied last year. Can I file for it again, especially since it still exists? Yes, you can. Yes, you can file for it again. So whenever your claim gets denied and you want to submit for that same claim, again, supplemental claim with new and relevant evidence is a possibility for you. As far as effective date goes, one thing to take into consideration is whether or not you file that within 12 months of receiving the denial. That will come into play there. So, but yes, you absolutely can file for it again with new and relevant evidence.
Yeah, and just in general knowledge, there's 3 ways to appeal something, right? There's the Board of Appeals, where you present your case to the Board of Judges. What Joe was just talking about, supplemental 0995, that means that you have new evidence that supports your case, right? It has to be evidence that they've never seen. Or the 0996, which is referred as the HLR, higher level review. That's, you're not allowed to add any more evidence. It's based on the evidence you already submitted. It has to be done within the 12 months of the decision. And then now, instead of it going to that same rater, it goes to a senior rater, someone with more experience, adjudicator that has been there for some time. And you actually get to speak to this person. So you get to check off the box where you get an informal conference and you get a conversation like, hey, why was my claim denied? And they have to answer those questions. So, yeah, again, I don't know your situation, but I'm just throwing out some general knowledge for everyone.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, you can do an HLR if it's been within 12 months from receiving the decision. If you believe your evidence was all good and it should have been approved.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Mark, claim went from step 5 back to step 3. Is that normal? Yeah, don't stress, Mark. It happens. It could go from step 3 to step 5 back to step 3 multiple times before you get a decision, honestly.
Listen, my sleep apnea claim was doing a double Dutch. It was like 5, 3, 5, 3. And I was like, what is going on? Yeah, it happens.
It's stressful. I mean, it's stressful. I know the anxiety that comes with checking the VA app, and you're like, oh man, it went back to step 3. Like, does this mean I'm going to get denied? No, it's normal.
Listen,
it happens.
when I got out, they didn't have no apps, so I was used to going on the computer, ID me, getting a code, blah blah blah. Then the VA went ahead and created this wonderful app. Man, I would check that 3 or 4 times a day. Like, nope, still the same. Nope.
Yeah, having the app is unhealthy whenever you're waiting for it. It's unhealthy. But yeah, it happens because I mean, it may your claim may go to step 5, and they decide, wait a minute, we need more evidence, and then you might see, you go to check the status, and you're like, wait a minute, they're saying they're requesting evidence. Do they need evidence from me? That doesn't necessarily mean they need evidence from you. It could be internal to them. Maybe they need more evidence from the examiner that did your C&P exam, and you don't hear back from them, and then all of a sudden it goes back to step 5. So there's a lot of things that could cause it to go back to step 3, and the VA will let you know if they need something from you.
Yeah. Mike, any recommendations for VSOs in Virginia Beach? I'm not familiar with that area. You can do the wonderful research in AKA Google, put in your zip code and just type in veteran service officers, and you should be able to get something in there. Something should pop up, or go on va.gov and look up locations. That should be able to help you. Yeah, listen, I'm all for anyone that's helping veterans. As long as you're there doing what you're supposed to be doing, that's awesome.
Agreed.
Silos. Good morning. I had multiple claims pending, and one of them was decided upon. They ended up merging the claims and closing the other one without making a decision. What should I do? Appeal it, supplemental or HLR. More than likely, probably be HLR. I don't know your case. I don't know what you uploaded, what you filed. But yeah, it would be one of those two that I would recommend.
Yeah, it's worth noting for CLOs, if you say that you had a pending claim and then you submitted another one before the VA made a decision on that one, and then you got a decision letter that combined your conditions, just make sure you look at your decision letter, because if it says deferred, that doesn't mean denied, right? If it says that a condition was deferred, then that means that they still haven't made a decision on it.
Yeah. OLSKOL. I'm not gonna attempt to butcher your name. 100. I put a supplemental claim for migraines from my PTSD. What's a good chance of it being approved? I'm already at 80%. Again, there's no way of knowing. Did you submit it with a nexus? Are you diagnosed with migraines? How many migraines do you have? All of those questions need to be answered kind of before that. But as far as I can tell you, you have a good chance of it being denied if you don't have a nexus, if you don't have a diagnosis, if you don't go to your C&P exam, like that is what will definitely get it denied. Well, not definitely, but that you'll be high probability of it being denied.
And then Roger Lee Nelson, I've been on a CPAP for years and have never knew I could claim it. Is it too late? I'm 60% now. So same things that we've been talking about for when it comes to sleep apnea. Roger, never too late, right? And just because you're diagnosed with sleep apnea and you're prescribed a CPAP doesn't mean that your sleep apnea is going to be service connected. You got to go in and see. You're going to, if you're going to file it as a secondary condition, medical evidence wins claims. You'll most likely need a nexus letter. Well, you'll want a nexus letter if you want to have a chance at that being a strong claim for you. So it's never too late, though. Never too late.
Cruising 26 is the VA disability increase 2.7%. Ain't no way of knowing. At least as of right now, there's just no way of knowing. Everything is pretty much a proposal. It's up in the air, but I haven't heard anything myself, so But cruising, I see from your logo, you're a Giants fan, and I'm originally from New York, so I was suffering this week because it's like they wanted to lose. Like the football gods were like helping us win, and they were like, no, no, we want to lose this game. So I feel your pain, and I'm pretty sure you're in pain right now with us Giants. But back to VA stuff.
We got Chuck again. I submitted 2 claims for HLR. The decision came back on only 1. Who do I contact at the VA to fix this? I have new evidence to submit 2 supplemental claims. And Chuck, you can call 1-800-827-1000. That is the number that you can call at the VA to inquire about that. Again, 1-800-827-1000. If you have questions about your claims. There it is on the screen, the VA helpline. You can ask them what's going on with that.
Yeah, ladies and gents, when you ever hear anyone say call the VA, that's the number that you want to call.
Anything claims related.
Yeah, anything related, like anything related, you want to call. Obviously not medical stuff, but yeah. Trying to connect my 10% hearing loss was secondary to my mental health issues, alcohol. Awesome. Yeah, that's something that you could do, but you need again a diagnosis of your mental health and a nexus connecting the 2 things together. The way I always kind of frame that, especially when it comes to mental health, is the quality of my life would be better if I didn't have this condition, right? And that's where you want to start to formulate your story and all of that good stuff. But yeah, keep fighting, keep going. Yeah.
And Charles asked, I got denied for my knee because I was hurt before I went into service, and the claim was made that I got hurt in service. How do I resubmit it? Well, Charles, there's different ways that a condition can be service connected, right? One is direct service connection. If it was called, you incurred an injury and you were diagnosed with a condition while you're on active duty or while you're in service, a secondary service connection, and then there's also aggravation, right? So if you had a condition that you were diagnosed with before you entered the service, and then that condition was it progressed beyond it got worse, and the injury was made worse beyond its natural progression, that's where you have a case potentially to file a claim for aggravation because it was aggravated by your service beyond its natural progression for that condition.
See, Chad, my dad's decision letter came back in 8 days after the CMP exam. That's awesome. That is awesome. Sherman, how do you go about getting an earlier effective date? If you're not, if it has nothing to do with the, let's say this is not talking about the common intent to file stuff, or you're appealing it within the year. If the only way I've seen, it's like, you have to prove that the VA made an error back in whatever time they made it. And most of the time, again, like in my situation, most of the time it's us. We're not filing it correctly. We're not doing it the right way. And that's why your stuff keeps getting denied. So for you to prove that it's their fault, you may need to hire someone, an attorney or something. But again, that's not our specialty here.
And then Larry Cooper asked, just got a letter from the VA asking for additional evidence. I responded immediately. Should I take this as a positive? Well, Larry, the positive thing is that you responded immediately and you made sure that 30 days didn't go by without responding to the VA. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get a decision right away, right? It just means that they're working on your claim. So there's no, it is a positive that you responded. Right.
Yeah.
It would be a negative if you didn't respond within the time frame that they gave you, most of the time 30 days to respond and provide them with what they're asking for. But because you did, you made sure that you provided them with what they needed, and they didn't move forward with making a decision without the evidence that they were requesting. So it is a positive that you responded to them within that time frame.
Jose E. Torres Rivera, how can I get a VA rating on the exam for anxiety and depression? File for anxiety and depression. pretty kind of short, cut and dry. But yeah, file for it now. The elements to getting something service connected, not just for anxiety and depression, for everything. You need a nexus. I mean, you need an in-service event. You need a current diagnosis, and you need a nexus. So if you have all three of those things, that's how you would get a VA rating, because you would get a service connected.
And all mental health conditions, whether you're diagnosed with anxiety, depression, PTSD, they're all going to fall under one mental health rating. Just for your knowledge there. And then T.I. Miller, like to know why all three of my secondary claims got deferred. No way to tell why they got deferred, T.I., but if you're asking what it means, it just means that they haven't made a decision on those claims yet. It just means that they're still working on either gathering evidence or whatever it is that they need to do on their end to make a decision on your claim. It doesn't mean this is denied. It just means that they have not made a decision on that claim yet, or on those conditions yet.
Yeah.
And if you have further questions, make sure you call the VA hotline. And then Carlisa, should I file for an increase on my current diagnoses? If you are service connected for the conditions that you are referring to, if your condition has gotten, or if your conditions have gotten worse since you were last evaluated, and you have the medical evidence to show and support your claim, then, absolutely. If you deserve a higher rating because your condition has gotten to a level where it's, higher up on the rating schedule on the 38 CFR, then make sure you have the medical evidence to support it. And absolutely, I would.
Yeah. But listen, what Joe just said is very, very important. Know what you're filing for. Know the rating, because let's say you're at 50% for migraines and you're now getting more migraines a month. You're now averaging 17 migraines a month. You're still going to be at 50%, right? So just understand the rating scale, and because maybe you maxed out or maybe you're not, right? So understand that.
That's a great point. Or maybe it's gotten worse, but it's not, it's still not severe enough to warrant a higher rating. So maybe it's gotten worse, but it's still, maybe you have a 30% rating for a condition and it got worse, but the symptoms that you're experiencing don't necessarily correlate with the 50% rating for that condition. So that's worth noting, or that's worth knowing as well, knowing what's on that 38 CFR Part 4 for the condition that you're service connected for and that you want to file an increase for. Thanks for pointing that out, Henry.
Oh man, this is a cool name. Clean Music Lover. I don't know what that is, but I like it. That sounds like a cool name. Clean Music Lover. I had an in-service event where I ended up spending the night in ICU and ended medical for another 3 days. That led to me getting chronic migraines. I filed for chronic migraines, but was denied. Again, there's three things you need: current diagnoses, in-service event, and a nexus. So you're missing one of the three pieces, right? Most of the time, it's usually you're missing a nexus, right? And the VA didn't see the connection. So that's where you would need a doctor to write you a nexus, determining, the connection between that and your military service, or that connecting it to your primary condition.
Yep. And then Joyce said, I'm service connected for my knees, but I fell and hurt my shoulder. Can that be claimed as secondary? I have to get surgery. I'll tell you, Joyce, that if you can get a doctor to write a nexus that your knees cause your shoulder. But here's what I'll tell you. Whenever it comes to secondaries, it's about what the VA deems can be secondary service connected to your knees. So for example, can your knees cause a shoulder condition? If you're asking me because I fell and because it was due to my knees that I fell, can that be claimed as a secondary service connection? Was it your knees? Was it your ankles? Was it your feet? What caused the fall? You see what I'm saying? So it's about what medical evidence you can submit to prove that your shoulder was secondary service connected to your knees, but it's a long shot. You good, Henry?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I don't know why I'm not able to hear you guys. Okay. Hello? Got it.
Yep, we can hear you.
Bum, bum. Yeah, sorry. Everything you just said right now, I didn't hear anything.
You're good. You're good. So we got some more questions here in the chat. I see Christina asked, hi, a decision was received and a few of the decisions are denied and a few deferred. Do you know what deferred means? Yeah, Christina, so I'm not sure if you're still in here, but deferred just means that they haven't made a decision on your claim yet.
They're still working on it.
They're still working on it. Doesn't mean that it's denied, just means that they haven't made a decision on that condition yet. So you may see a decision letter that has other conditions that say whether they were approved or denied. That means that they had enough to make a decision on those conditions, but the conditions that say defer just means that they didn't want to hold up those other conditions for you, and they'll get back to you with a decision on those other ones that are currently deferred.
Yeah. Karen, is a nexus letter from telemedicine reliable? I'm assuming you're mentioning probably Telemedica. Yes. As long as it's a medical provider, a nexus letter is reliable. It has to be a medical provider that's writing you the letter. Now, the ingredients of a nexus letter is, just make sure that is also in there. That they review your records, that they are citing publications that show the connection, and then at the bottom that they are saying this is least as likely than not, right? So those are the things that is needed in a nexus letter. But just, if you're just referring to Telemedica, yes, because that's what I use for my own claims. Most of our vets, that's what they use. Telemedica is a separate company, but they're great at what they do. Yeah.
That ties right into Michael Kench. Your question, I have 10% tinnitus and am now receiving medical care for severe migraines. How do I connect this to my current claim? Well, Michael, book a discovery called VA Claims Insider, and that's where what the other veteran had just asked. Telemedica, they offer nexus letters, right? So a nexus letter could definitely do you justice for your claim in this scenario, but you want to make sure you have the current diagnosis and nexus letter. Give yourself a shot. We're almost reaching the top of the hour here, so we can answer a couple more questions. I'm loving the questions. I appreciate you guys being active in the comment section. You guys have been awesome today.
Mark, if we're considering using you guys, consider that this is one of the only organizations I know that offer both training for free and help if you want it. Yes, help costs, but you do you. Yeah, Mark, honestly, there was a video that Brian Reese, our founder, said once, well, in one of his 1,000 videos, but one of them where he said, and this is when I was a client or when I was trying to find who should I go to, but he said, use our free resources, right? A lot of our free resources is better than other people's paid. But the fact that it wasn't like, hey, sign up, come on, sign up. He's like, use our free resources. If that doesn't work, then come in. Man, that just made me feel, like, wow, the training is amazing, right? But yeah, we do a lot to help our vets. We're passionate about what we do. But yeah, use the free resources. If that doesn't work for you, then come on board.
Yep. But Henry, you are awesome. It's been a pleasure being on this live with you, and I just want to make sure that we can let you guys know and educate you guys on some of the resources we have available to you here at VA Claims Insider. And we use the SEM method here, the strategy, education, and medical evidence equals the VA disability rating you deserve. And here we have one-on-one coaching for you where you can sign up and you can have Coach Henry, myself, and we have other amazing coaches in the company that the company would pair you up with as well. So you can get that one-on-one coaching, so you can get the education you need to feel empowered and to, not go into this blind. And, you would get a strategy session with your coach. You'd have, claim submission education calls, CMP education calls. We have live classes that we hold multiple times a week for CMP exam education classes. We have coffee with the coaches where you just what it sounds like. Grab your beverage of choice, grab your coffee in the mornings and hang out with us coaches for Q&A sessions multiple days a week. If you're an Insider Elite member. And yeah, you want to add some more to that, Henry?
I just want to kind of, while we have the time, just kind of answer a quick question. What is the average cost of a Nexus letter?
Great question.
It varies, but I can tell you the highest that I've seen. I've seen a Nexus letter cost $3,000, $4,000. So Nexus letters are pricey. Now, through our preferred provider network, you do get a discount, but you have to be a member of VACI. And Shelly said, can I ask a question? I don't know if that was the question that you wanted to ask, but you still have 3 minutes that you can ask a question.
Okay, she did follow it. She followed it up. She said, can you get permanent and total disability?
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah. You have to be 100% or TDIU or, for you to get permanent and total disability.
Yeah, when you get 100% permanent and total, that means that the VA has considered your conditions that the conditions that have you at 100%, that they're static in nature. They don't expect them to get any better.
Yeah.
With time.
Yeah, guys, if we didn't answer any questions, somebody will come along and answer them later on.
That is correct. So your questions will not go unanswered. Somebody will go through and answer your questions. So be on the lookout for that, like Coach Henry was saying. And, book a discovery call with VA Claims Insider. We'll get the link up there for you. If you have any, if you want to see if we're a good match for you, so we can provide you with the coaching and education you need. And then Brian Reese's new book, VA Claims Secrets, is now available as well. You can order yours on Amazon today. A great book, a lot of valuable information in Brian Reese's new book. So
I always get two, honestly, every time. I always get two, one for me, and then I'll, if I see a veteran in the street or Home Depot, just kind of, hey, veteran to veteran. I'm not telling you guys to get two. I'm saying that's just what I do. Just so like you can pass that information. It's always good to pass it along so people can know the VA world, right? This world can be so complicated. But yeah, I'm glad you guys were here. Could have been anywhere else, but you came in. Hopefully we didn't bore you guys to death. But it was a pleasure, Joe, to be here. And
absolutely, brother. Likewise. The feeling is mutual. Henry,
guys, please don't give up. go after your claims, do what you got to do. Medical evidence wins it, and see you at the top.
Don't quit. Get the rating you deserve. Thanks, guys.
Deserve.
It's a pleasure being with all of you today.